Today we're installing the Xpel armor protection for the rockers on your Cybertruck. So this area down here, it kind of complements our existing kits for the wheel flares, the front bumper, the rear bumper, and the truck bed trim. So if you've watched our other videos, you'll know how easy this is to install. If you haven't, then it's really easy to install. And this is what it looks like. I wanted to quickly show you how it kind of comes off of our production machine. Just real quick, so every kit is assembled here in Texas, and then hand artisan finished before it gets to you. So this product is very easy to work with. It's very tough. It's like it has the texture of a spray-on truck liner, but it really lifts the trim on the Cybertruck. You know, if you've had your Cybertruck for more than a few weeks, you'll know that the plastic trim kind of it's just not very robust. It scratches quite easily. It tarnishes quite easily from weather as well. So this kind of really lifts the texture of it as protection, but it also looks good as well. So this is what it looks like when it comes out of the machine. So when you're applying this, let me just finish this one off. So this is what you get in the kit. You get a driver's side and a passenger side. You get this instruction sheet as well. So in terms of what's in the box, you get this section. You get two sections, one for passenger, one for driver's side. You get the sort of sheet that kind of helps you figure out the jigsaw puzzle, and you'll get a squeegee. In terms of prep for the surface, just make sure that it's completely clean, especially if you've been using sort of trim enhancer, sort of the Armor All or Chemical Guys stuff that kind of makes the trim a bit darker. That has an oil or wax in it, which kind of, you know, it'll interfere with the adhesion of this. So just clean it off. I use this, just alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, but even just soapy water will do it, right? Something just to cut that grease and wax off the trim. With that said, let's get on with the installation. Okay, before we get started, I do have the Tesla mud flaps installed, so I'm just going to remove that, or at least get it out of the way. I'm probably going to make a little kit to sort of dress the mud flaps as well. Alright, and then just pop this pin out. There we go. Okay, so with that out of the way enough, I'm going to just quickly spray down the surface. This is already clean. Obviously I just removed our test fit, so I don't need to do much to it other than just make sure there's no, well, adhesive for a start. There we go. Do make sure you get into these corners kind of around the wheel arch, because that's where kind of all the crud accumulates. And then we do, you know, as part of the kit, we do cover this top surface as well, so make sure you clean that as well. Okay, as I mentioned, as we install this, we're going to go in alphabetical order. Oops, forgot to weed this. This thing in the middle is just kind of a bonus little Cybertruck decal you can use somewhere if you want to. So we're going to start with A. If we look at the instruction sheet, so this is that kind of rear aero guard, and then we'll kind of work our way sort of around and down. So peeling off A. So the reason this is a separate piece is that this is a separate piece. It's actually removable if you want it to as well. There's a seam there, so you don't want one continuous piece to cover up that seam, because that's not going to go very well. It's going to move and let dust in after a while. So in terms of the alignment, we just want to make sure we're lining up on this back edge and just below that seam across there. So we're just kind of covering this piece of the trim. Let's do that again. Now, if you've watched our other videos, you'll know all of this already, but every plastic surface on any truck or car, including Cybertruck, has a small radius on each of the edges. So we don't want to go over that radius, because that's where the PPF will lift and allow dust in. So we're just kind of coming inside. Hopefully you can see that on here, maybe. Just coming inside that trim. And then we're just going to sort of pull it into place like that. I'm going to grab my squeegee and just go all over it. So nice and easy. Okay, now we'll do this section here, which I assume is B. It is. So the reason we do it in order is we want to match all the seams and keep them aligned. So this is the seam I'm looking at, along with this top edge here. So we're aligning to this sort of second fold. This kind of angled piece here is left exposed. So I'm looking at this top left corner, and I'm kind of walking it along with my other hand to get that top piece lined up. Then we're going to apply a little bit of pressure across the top here to sort of lock it into place, if you like. And then over here, we're just going to pull it down until that looks well aligned. You can see that I've got a ripple here, so I'm just going to peel that back and just replace it. Like so. Trying to ignore this dog hair that gets everywhere. So you'll see maybe on camera, maybe in the light, there's a little tiny bubble down here. That'll actually just squeegee out, so we're not going to worry too much about that. But if there was anything bigger than that, we would just peel it back and reapply it. Okay, so now we're going to do this piece here. So part C, which is this piece here. And this we just kind of sort of slide in. So although this is super sticky on the rear, you can kind of jimmy it in or slide it in as you need to. So what I'm looking at here again is this top edge or lip here, and then everything else will just kind of line up. And again, we're looking to line up with, ignore my bad PPF right there. So we're looking to line up with the edge of the panel for this piece here. So just kind of shuffling it in there. Just bring it back to the right just a tad. That's looking good. And then we're just going to lay that down. And then again, squeegee to finalize. Okay, those are all small pieces. They're all quite easy. Now we're going to carry on with some of the longer pieces. Okay, so next piece is D, which is this piece here. I guess I peeled off the D as I was weeding it on camera, so apologies for that, but that's what this one is here. And pay attention on the orientation on this. We have a slight angle here. This is the angle that's at the back of the piece. So as you peel it off, just kind of remember that. And then present it sort of to the plastic trim here. Putting a lot of pressure with my thumb at this end, but I'm steering it with my right hand as well. This top line is what we're looking at all the way along. We want to make sure it's sitting in the right place. You don't want to be able to feel it when you roll your finger over here, otherwise that means it's catching, and you'll see you'll eventually get some dust in there. So just bring that down a whisker. I'm doing this inside, obviously. You don't have to. As I say, this is nowhere near as sensitive a product as this sort of PPF where you don't want any speck of dust underneath it. But if you can, yeah, I still recommend doing it inside just to make sure nothing gets underneath the PPF. Okay, so now that's in place, I'm going to grab my squeegee. I'm going to go across this top section here just to sort of finalize that piece. And then we're going to pull this away again, just to make sure we're not trapping anything. We're not, so that's really good, like that. And then I'm going to look over on this edge here, make sure that's nicely lined up with this piece, and then we can just kind of work our way along. Pick that back off, there we go. So you'll see this piece lines up with the door gap, I suppose. Let's just peel this back just to make sure that's sitting down flush. So there you go, that's how that piece goes on. The reason we didn't do a full length piece is it becomes very unwieldy. We're a foot off the ground here. I did lift the truck, by the way, so I recommend you doing that, just makes it easy to install. But with a really long piece, it's kind of quite difficult to install it that way. So I figured since we've got brakes on these corners, putting a brake here on the door makes it nice and easy. Okay, next piece is going to be E, which is a continuation of this. Okay, so same thing, it's still quite a long piece. So first thing we're going to do is align this left edge where it meets the other piece. Remember, that's why we sort of do it in alphabetical order, just to make sure that we're maintaining that alignment with each other. I'm going to work my way along the length of it now. Again, looking at this top edge, making sure that it's sitting just below the radius of the plastic. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to carry on. Oops. Got lots of lights around me. Okay, so that's nice. So we don't put a seam here, so we need to be a little more conscious that we don't want to trap any air here. And that's actually a little high as well. Just bring that up a little bit. And then steer it again with my other hand, my right hand. Go. And then we're going to start up here. We want to make sure we're nicely tucked in here. If you can maybe hear it as I do this. No, of course you can't. It's trying to pull away, so we want to make sure there's no tension here. So because I've got this little bit hanging over here, I know they've gone too far. So I'm going to just peel this back and really make sure that's tucked into that edge, and then we're just going to place that piece. That's looking good. Work our way back along. Okay, now it's just these top surfaces. These are a little more fiddly, just because the doors and the panel and everything else gets in the way, but they're not too bad. Okay, so if you're keeping up, we're going to do section F now. We've already done C earlier, so F is the next piece, and then G is the last piece. This piece is nice and easy. We're just going to align with this. We're going to align with this piece here, this section here. So I'm just going to lay this down. A bit too close, bring that back a little bit. Each of the gaps, where there is a gap, we're looking at sort of about 5 mil. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is in inches, but it's not much of a gap. It's just, you know, as long as they're symmetrical and even all the way along, that's what we're looking for. So I'm just placing it down there. Finding my squeegee. While we're here, we do also have armor protection for this area here. What we have on here right now is clear PPF. Xpel again, it's their sort of satin finish and it matches this black really well. But this paint here is very thin, so you really want to protect this area too with something, either this or this. Okay, on to the last bit. Okay, section G. So as before, we're going to line up with this. So we're looking to line up. So we're lining up on this gap here, up here. So we're just going to place this. Like so. And work our way along. Again, as always, steering with my other hand, just to get this placed correctly. Use a vacuum. Sorry about that, should have done that before the video. So once we get up here, this corner, you obviously want that to align, it obviously will. And we're going to just sort of post that underneath the door. And we're going to take care of that piece in a minute. Let's just get this piece finalised. And then over here on the other side, hopefully you can see on this camera. Let me get some light on that. So this piece we just want to pull back into place, lining up on this edge here, laying that down. Oops. So you can see I drifted off a little bit here, so I'm going to lift this again, go underneath that. You know, stretching and steering with your hand as you apply it is important, because that's sort of the final way you can get a really nice fit and finish.